My name is Michael Baden, and today I'm going to teach you guys how to program PHP, or what we call PHP programming language, which is very easy, very easy to learn. Just know the basics, and then you're good to go. So before we start programming, I just wrote some notes on PHP so that we know what PHP is about and how to go about it. So to start, what first comes to mind is, what is PHP? And PHP is an acronym which stands for Hypertext Preprocessor. And it is widely used, and it's an open source scripting language. When we say it's widely used and it's an open source scripting language, it means you can program it yourself. PHP is an open source, so you can program it yourself. You can learn by your own. Someone can teach you. You have access to every code you want in PHP and stuff. And the next step is this one, which is PHP scripts are executed on the server. So with PHP, you have to have a server before you be able to run it. Without a server, you can't run it. And in the next tutorial, I'll teach you guys how to install XAMPP on your computer, so that you can, which is the server for PHP, so you can run PHP on your computer, like offline. So without a server, you can't run PHP. It won't work. See? So that's how it works. And PHP is free to download and use, so you can just download PHP from its official site, php.net, and then you start programming. So the next thing we ask ourselves, how do we program PHP? Do PHP work with other scripts, like learning programming languages like HTML and stuff? Yes, it does. You can run PHP in HTML in PHP files, in CSS, and JavaScript, or in PHP file. So let's say, I'm thinking by now you guys know how to program HTML, but since I want to teach you guys that you can add PHP to an HTML tags and stuff, let me show you this example. So of this. So this is an HTML code. And you can't save a file to like index.html or home.html and run a PHP script in it. It won't work. So for it to work, you have to save the file extension as in like index.php or home.php or whatever your file name is going to be. So then you do the extension as .php, and with that you can put your HTML code in it, CSS, JavaScript, and all that inside it. Okay, so PHP has, so that was what I was talking about, .php. That's the file extension. So with this, when you want to save the file, you just save it as, let's just say index, so index.php. So let's save it, let's say on desktop for now. Let's create a new folder and name it PHP tutorials. Yes, so then let's save the following. So index.php. So yeah. So this is a PHP file because it has an extension of .php. So meaning you can run your PHP code in it. Yeah. So we saved the file on desktop, which is not a good thing, but for the sake of the tutorials, that's why I just saved it there. Because for you to run PHP, you're supposed to save it like on a server, which we haven't yet done. So for now, we're just saving it on desktop, and then in the next tutorial, when I teach you guys how to install XAMPP, which is a server for PHP, and then we will save it in the correct folders. Yeah, so for you to run your PHP code, you open a PHP tag, and then you close a PHP tag, which is this PHP. So this is an open PHP tag, and this is a closing PHP tag, and then your PHP code goes here. So this is where your PHP code goes, inside the tag. Okay, this is where your PHP code goes. Okay, so let's go back to the notes and continue. Okay, so what can PHP do? When we see what can PHP do, PHP can generate dynamic page content, which means with PHP you can save like notes or contents in your database, and then you retrieve it with PHP, making the site dynamic, making things change on your site, whereas HTML, everything on the page is like static. So PHP generates dynamic sites where things change and all that. Yeah. So now we go to the next step, which is PHP can create, open, write, read, delete, and close files on servers. So with PHP, you can write a code where it can create a file, it can read a file, it can write a file, it can delete a file. You can do all that within there when it's on a server. PHP works only on servers. Okay. So and with PHP too, next point, with PHP you can collect form data. So let's say you save something in your database and you want to collect it, use PHP to take the content from your database. Yeah, and then it will be live on your website. Okay. So the next one is PHP can send and receive cookies. So like let's say Facebook, where you want to log in, you click remember me and stuff. With that, you can use PHP to create that, where you can like say when a person clicks. So sorry for that. PHP can send and receive cookies. So you can use PHP to create cookies where remember you, so when you come, you don't have to input your password and username again and stuff before you log in. But PHP will save all those cookies down, and then it will remember you, and then just automatically log you in. Yes. As we just said, PHP can add, delete, modify data in your database. So you have a content in your database, you can just use your PHP to modify it, change it, insert things into your database and all that and stuff. So yeah. Okay, so PHP can control user access. So with PHP, you can use it to control user access, as in you want maybe this user to be able to access this particular file, or you don't want this user to access this particular file. You can write a code where you can tell this user that he has no access to this file, and the person can never get access to it, or you can allow access to to that file or anything like that. And PHP can also encrypt data. I would say PHP can encrypt data. when we say PHP can encrypt data.